Robert, can you just talk us about the emotions, climbing over the cage, running into the Scottish crowd? What did that feel like to you?
You know, it was emotional in there, emotional going out. I usually keep myself calm and just switch off. Coach told me to embrace the moment, you know, enjoy it with my people, and I went out there. And the hairs in the back of my neck stood up, and even your hair would have stood in the end, you know. And as soon as the shot landed and I knocked him out, you know, it was like, think about pausing something, then hitting fast forward. Just surreal. Felt overcome with emotion, you know. I just wanted out of there, and unfortunately there was a cage in front of me, you know. And jumped over the cage and just tried to get away from everybody, but it didn't get very far. So that was another bit of chocolate.
From the moment that UFC announced this card, from the moment you knew that you were fighting on it, the promotion, what's this whole UFC Glasgow experience been like for you?
Well, amazing, you know, but it could always be better. You know, Scotland are a wee bit behind in the MMA scene. It's not as big as you've seen the guys in Ireland. What happens when a country gets behind their fighters and embrace it, you know. And all of our fighters are putting everything in it. You know, I want the community and the media back home to put the same into it, and hopefully it kicks off the same as Ireland, because there's another small country in town. That's the way I see it, you know, and the both of us going forward in Europe, we're a force to be reckoned with. You know, we might be small, but we can fight.
Were you happy to be the first Scottish guy at Flower Scotland? The place was on its feet.
Oh, of course.
UFC Dublin was pretty special last year, but as an Irishman there, I had goosebumps listening to that.
You did?
Coming out.
Thank you very much. That's good coming for you. Because I was in Dublin when Conor came out, and that was something special, you know. I wanted to replicate that. I wanted my supporters behind me, you know. And what better way to come out to the Flower of Scotland, the national anthem, you know. And even I was singing it on the way out, and I just want to watch it back and see what it was like, because of course I can't take it all in right now, but I'm looking forward, and if you're an Irishman telling me it was as good as Dublin, even if it's half as good as Dublin, I'm happy with that.
You know, first Scot in the UFC, first Scot to walk out, you're writing history here in the UFC. How does it feel to know that your name's already in the history books for UFC in Scotland?
Yeah, no, but before I even made it to the big show, until I made it to UFC, there's a documentary on me, you know. Every time I walk out to my fight I say let's make history, and ever since then I've been making it, you know. First Scot to fight in the UFC, first Scot to register a win, first Scot to walk out in front of 11,000 of us guys, and first Scot to knock somebody out and home turf. You know, that'll go down in history, and Paul Redmond went down with it.
With a lot of eyes that has been on Irish fighters, was there any pressure going in fighting an Irish guy in your hometown?
The only pressure was I love the Irish, you know. The Irish guys are great, and I go back and forward to Dublin with my friends before. It's good times over there. The people are nice, they're much like Scottish, you know, and that's the only thing I didn't like is the UFC put two countries together that are so close, brothers and sisters. The way I look at it, I would have rather much had someone from America, you know. And it's just unfortunate I got an Irish guy and I had to take him out, you know. It was just business in there, but hopefully I can buy Paul a pint of Guinness when he gets better, you know.
Did he do everything that you expected he would do in there?
Yeah, he came forward. I actually thought he would push the pressure a little bit much more, you know, because all the fights I've watched, he's came forward, and he had a fight in Sweden in short notice. You can't take anything away from that. But if you watch his fights before that, puts a lot of pressure on guys, and more aggressive, you know. And as soon as I started fainting, and I had to crack him early, because as soon as I hit guys, they feel the power, and that kind of settles them down a little bit. So I knew I had to hit him early to get the respect, and as soon as I did that, he started going in the back foot a little bit more, you know. He's a natural 155 and he dropped down to 145, you know. It was a terrible weight cut. I knew it would have been tough for him to get to that weight, and then try to sustain that for 15 minutes. I know it was going to be tough for him. When you're cutting that much weight, you're taking that much fluid out of the body, the fluid comes from the brain everywhere, you know. And I knew as soon as I cracked him, he wouldn't have the same staying power as he did at 155. So that's why I wanted to get my hands on him early and let him know. My coaches wanted me to stay in the move more, make it a technical fight, but I was in there in front of my home crowd. I just wanted to plant my feet and hit him hard, you know.
It seems you were pretty keen for the exchanges as well. About a minute before the finish, it seemed like he caught you with one that put you back on a foot against the cage. You were circling around for a minute. It seemed like if you were hurt, you were hiding it very well. You were creating good distance.
I mean, I didn't feel hurt in there, you know. You could have fucked me with a sledgehammer there and I wouldn't feel it, but obviously you're under false pretences in there, you know. You get hit with shots, you might not feel them, but man, they do damage. He helped me with an uppercut, and I thought it was sweat to start with, you know, but he burst my nose up. First time I've ever had my nose bleeding like that. Didn't faze me in the slightest, but I was hungry for the exchanges, you know. I wanted to get in an exchange with Paul. I wanted to put a show on for my home crowd.
The exchanges would have brought the energy.
And that's the way I fight, you know. I was unfortunate that I came off a loss before I went into the Pineda fight in UFC 171. I had to play it safe. It's important to get a win here, as everybody knows in the UFC. And I'm just happy to be back to the way I like to fight, you know. Putting a scrap on is the way I like to look at it.
And why did you change your nickname? Why are you no longer the Flying Judoka?
My Twitter's a flying judoka, but I've always been known
Oh,
as
was
it.
that one? Oh,
I've
sorry.
always been known
I had
as
someone
that.
tweet me that saying why wasn't it said
No,
as
no, no,
flying
no.
judoka?
My Twitter handle's flying judoka. That's from my judo heritage. My coach James Dillon from the Grip House gave me the hammer. He seen me ground and pound in the bag one day, and he's like, "You're hitting that like a hammer. Your nickname's a hammer." And Paul Redmond found out what happens when the hammer drops.
Rob, some of the top pro athletes from Europe have gone over stateside for their training, for their camps. You've obviously been training at ATP. Just explain, reasons for doing that, and what's experience been like there for you as well.
I mean, I've been going back and forward to America for 3.5 years now. The people are just suddenly taking notice of me. I think I've just been doing this for this camp or the previous fights. I've been going back and forward there for 3.5 years. So it's like a second home to me. The guys over there treat me brilliant. From the office staff to the coaches to the fighters, it's like a second family to me over there. It's unfortunate I need to leave my cat Ollie back home. He can't come with me. He'd hate the heat. And my girlfriend and my friends, I've missed my friend's wedding. I've missed their stag do's. I've missed everything. I continue to make the sacrifices that other people don't, so I continue to do those things that people can't. That's the way it is.
Does that make it much sweeter, knowing the fact that you've got to make all those sacrifices to make history?
Somebody asked me that, what does it feel like to make those sacrifices? I like when I come here to put on a fight or anywhere in the world, I like to have a chip on my shoulder, and I like to be taken out of my comfort zone. I was living in a fighter's house over in America there for 8 weeks with 3 Brazilians, and these guys didn't even know how to use a tin opener. And so you can imagine living with them what it was like. That gives you a wee bit of arrogance coming into a fight. It feels like you've earned the right to put a beating on somebody, to show a wee bit of aggression.
Looking at the division, what's your opinion on it? And do you have anyone in mind that you'd like to face next?
I mean, the division's wide open. There's a lot of guys there. Great performance with Conor McGregor from Ireland over there. That just topped the cherry. Us European fighters are there. Another small country like Scotland are in there. I would like anybody in there. As long as they come to put a fight on and not play that running game or jiu-jitsu game like I thought Paul was going to do. Just give me my hands on anything. That's what I say.
Would you like to be the next breakout star from Scotland, like Conor did with Ireland?
I am the next breakout star from Scotland. Not would I like to be. Who else has done that in Scotland? Let's see how it goes for the rest of the night.